Hello and welcome to all of you joining us on this entrepreneurial webinar. And we're going to hone in on a few areas which are absolutely critical to the success of small businesses and individual salespeople. And the first thing I'd like to do before we get started is to acknowledge you for being here. There's a saying which I love, which states that 80% of success is to be found in just making the effort of showing up. And I sincerely hope that you agree with that statement. So I guess I really want to thank you specifically for your time today. Because how many of you will agree with me that time is pretty much your most precious commodity? And I really do appreciate you choosing to spend some of your valuable time with me today. And my promise to you is to do my best to make sure that every minute that we are going to spend together is worthwhile. Good or good, yes? Now, we have a challenge today, ladies and gentlemen, you and I. My part of the challenge is to present the material to you in an interesting and impactful manner and to make the information palatable to all the different types of products and services represented by all of you here today. Your part in the challenge is to receive the material presented with an open mind, internalize it, and then get out there into the big, awesome business world and go and apply it and use it. Now, let me explain what you are going to take out from our time spent together today. There are three things that you are going to walk away with today. Firstly, a much better understanding of what business you're actually in, regardless of the product or service that you offer. Because your product or service is not your real business. Secondly, a clear understanding of what the two most important parts of any business really are. And thirdly, a proven method of ensuring your success as an entrepreneur if you are really serious about your business. Now, regardless of your product or service, no matter what it is, the most important factor that every entrepreneur will at some stage have to grasp and grapple with is that you have to sell it. You have to market it. It doesn't matter how great you think it is, it will not sell itself. And I can tell you this from having worked with many, many entrepreneurs over many years. In most cases, entrepreneurs do not believe that they are good at selling. And they often actually profess a disliking for selling in general. And also they regularly admit to knowing very little about proper marketing methods. And so, when entrepreneurs suddenly have to move into the hard-fought and very competitive arena of customer sales, which is real selling in the real world, things suddenly seem to become much more difficult for them, don't they? Selling in its truest form as a new startup is very rarely easy to do. And as the entrepreneur's dream of quickly going viral and their belief that people will just beat a path to their door to purchase because what they are offering is so exceptional and everybody will just love it. As this dream starts to fade and the reality begins setting in of the years of blood, sweat and toil lying ahead, here's what starts to unfold quite rapidly. According to a study from the University of San Francisco, which was done on 58,000 entrepreneurs, it shows that 56% of entrepreneurs will suffer from at least one form of mental illness at some point in their life. And that screen that you're looking at right now does not make for pleasant reading, does it now? So make no mistake, the role of the entrepreneur or small business owner can be a very long, hard and stressful one. But take note of those words I just used. Can be. Because it doesn't have to be so, does it? In the United Kingdom, 660,000 new companies are registered on average every single year. In America last year, a record 3 million applications to start a business was received. And in South Africa in 2019, there were 250,000 formally registered small businesses in the country. And all of that sounds really great, doesn't it? It sounds great for employment. It sounds great for the economy. Great for the taxman. But before we get too excited, let's consider the very scary realities based on proven statistics. And the reason I say scary is threefold. Firstly, scary because the stats that I'm about to give you now are almost identical around the entire world. Secondly, scary because these stats remain constant percentage-wise over any time period, be it over 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years. And thirdly, very scary because another constant that has been identified is that entrepreneurs, both the new ones and the existing failing ones who start these businesses every year, don't seem to bother to learn the lessons from those who have come before them in order to stack the odds of success in their favor. Because surely you could learn from some of those who made it, how they did it. And you could learn from some of those who didn't make it, why not? Wouldn't you agree with me on that? So, let's go and take a look at these well-known statistics right now. 20% of these startup businesses will unbelievably close their doors for good within the first 12 months of trading. Another 60% of these startup businesses will go under within the first 3 to 5 years. And that is a staggering 80% failure rate within 3 to 5 years. Or to put it another way, 4 out of 5 startups will be out of business within 3 to 5 years with massive debts piling up, huge losses of life savings, losses of pensions, and. Now, I know that all of you sitting there right now are going to be saying, no, Tom, no ways, that will never be me. I've thought this through too well. Well, I'm sorry for you, because these figures appear to be cast in stone and verified by so many unrelated agencies and universally accepted as the truth. So it is a logical deduction then, isn't it? That unless you learn how to do things differently, you are going to end up the same way, aren't you? Now, let's take a brief look at just a few reasons why this seems to happen with such regularity. There are several reasons why businesses fail in such short order. Reasons such as insufficient capital, or the technology the business is based on may be unproven, or not be popular, or in many cases is just overtaken. HR, being human resources, also causes major problems for small business owners, particularly in this country. Bureaucracy, government interference, unions, bargaining councils, strikes, wage demands do cause many entrepreneurs to just say stuff it and walk away when the going gets tough. But, and I repeat that, but, there's an even more prevalent, proven and obvious reason to be taken from these statistics for these high failure rates. And this is the area that we are going to place our focus on today. By far the largest reason why 4 out of 5 small businesses fail in such short order is because of a lack of consistent sales and the lack of consistent sales growth. These are the two proven areas where entrepreneurs and startups struggle the most. A lack of consistent sales figures and a lack of sustainable growth of those sales figures causes them the most grief. And often, this reality starts becoming evident as soon as 6 months after opening their doors. 6 months. Can you believe it? What very quickly becomes a constant struggle for sales and for revenue now overtakes your life, and it soon places massive and pervasive pressure on you as the leader, on you as the entrepreneur, which in turn then influences how you make your decisions, your leadership style, and even your relationships both at work and at home. But then, on the flip side, generating excellent sales figures and a consistent flow of revenue gives you the luxury of time and available money to fix any of the other problems, doesn't it? But without excellent sales streams and consistent cash flow, you will not be able to solve any of the other challenges as they begin rearing their ugly heads. And then closure is absolutely inevitable, as we now know, don't we? Now, I've spent a lot of time pointing out many of the pain points, difficulties and downsides, haven't I? If you are going to be like one of the 80% that are guaranteed to fail because they are entrepreneurs who don't know how to sell and who have not bothered to learn from those who have come before them. So, with all of that in the rearview mirror, what can be done? What can we do to help entrepreneurs? What can be done to help them to sell more of their stuff and to generate the necessary cash flows, profits and growth early enough to make a difference? And in this way, considerably reduce the mental burdens on themselves, their teams, and their families. Well, it starts with what I like to call million rand sales secrets. And if you will listen to what I have to say right now and take it on board, and more importantly, go and do it, implement it, then you can become one of the 5% who not only survive, but who also thrives. So, let's take a look now at the biggest million rand sales secret of them all. Every business, be it a large or small business, and even if they try and hide it behind some fanciful names and descriptions, really only consists of 5 very important parts: administration, operations, production or manufacturing, marketing, and sales. Now, I want you to listen to this next statement I make very, very carefully, because it might go against many of the things that you personally believe to be true. The most important of these 5 components by far, but especially in the early months and years of a small business, is always marketing and sales. Because quite simply, without sales, the other components of administration, operations, and production will have absolutely nothing to do, will they? The entire business's success hinges on the sales and marketing efforts. Because if no one knows that you exist or is aware of what you do, then excellent products and fantastic service mean absolutely nothing, do they? Now, if you will accept this truth, the next most important question that you have to ask yourself as an entrepreneur is this. And please treat this question very seriously. How much of your time do you allocate to these 5 components as a business owner? And have you ever even thought about the importance of allocating the time that you should be spending on these various parts of your business? Probably not, I should think, as you sit here now. And the statistics clearly show us that, unfortunately, because of inexcusable ignorance on their part, most small business owners are putting most of their efforts into the first 3 components, being administration, operations, and production, which are all of them, wait for it, they are all 0 income generating facets of the business. This is the most underrated and serious cause of failure of 80% of businesses in 3 years or less. Spending your valuable time on 0 income generating parts of your business. So, here's the news flash then. 80% of all of your efforts should always go into marketing and sales, which translates directly into revenue, into cash flow, and hopefully into profit. So as a business owner, you need to be spending most of your valuable and limited time in sales and marketing. Now, I know already what many of you are going to be saying to me right about now. You're going to be saying, but Tom, What if I'm no good at sales and marketing? Or what if I don't like sales or marketing? Well, then I have a very short two-part answer for you. And best you listen to it very carefully. You either need to learn to sell and to market very damn quickly before you go out of business, or you need to immediately hire people in that are very good at it, which will in turn free you up to focus on whatever it is that you think you are very good at. Now, in a small business, very often sales and marketing, if done at all, are done by the same person. But as your business grows, these two components need to separate and stand alone, yet still operate very closely with each other, just as in the same model that big business utilizes. So the crux of the matter then is this. No matter what product or service you provide, that is not your real business. Your real business is the business of marketing and sales. Your real business is anything that you can do to attract and to keep a customer. You are in the business of marketing your printing services, not printing business cards, letterheads, and flyers. You are in the business of marketing your real estate services, not selling houses. And you are in the business of marketing your software solutions, not creating them. And you are in the business of marketing your transport services, not in the moving of goods. Do you get the picture yet? It's not what you produce or manufacture or provide that matters. What really matters is the things you do to sell the things that you manufacture. Let me repeat that because it is so important. It is what you do to sell your things that you stock or manufacture or provide that is the most important thing, and not the things themselves. Marketing and sales is the business. So now you need to ask yourself a second very important question right now. What budget do you have set aside to market yourself and your business right now? If your answer is only a very small amount or none at all, then I put it to you tonight, right now, that you are not very serious about your business, are you? Because marketing is what your whole business should be about. And here is something that has been said about the importance of a marketing strategy in any business. And in fact, I think it was Seth Godin who said the following. He said that until you have developed a systemized and predictable method of consistently finding and acquiring new customers, then you don't really have a sustainable business. And you are not a serious business person or entrepreneur. And you will fail at some stage. You will run out of money. So, if you want to build your business, if you want to allow it to thrive, then you must understand that you are in the business of sales and marketing. You could set up a business to repair motor vehicles and have all the operations, admin, and production departments in place. But how much effort have you put into the sales and marketing department? Because without this department excelling, you are soon going to be in the dwang, won't you? The better your marketing is, the easier it is to close sales and to find people to sell to. And the worse your marketing is, the harder it is to make a sale. Think of it this way. If people have seen your ads and your articles, your videos, they already know who you are. They know your social proof. They've seen your salespeople and perhaps your vehicles out and about. Would you say that it's easier or harder to sell to them than if they know absolutely nothing about you or your company? Yes, it's a no-brainer. We all know that the cold call is much harder to sell to, isn't it? So then, let's take a closer look now at these two beasts called sales and marketing. And let's start by identifying what a specialized marketing person in a mid to large range company would be responsible for. And also, what skills he or she would need to have, because these are the skills that you need to put into your small business immediately. Firstly, they would be responsible for marketing communications, for advertising and public relations. And to do this well, you need to have the ability to write articles, press releases, marketing copy, advertising copy, radio and video scripts, website copy, and a wide range of materials that falls under the umbrella of marketing communications. And to be able to do this successfully, the marketing person must possess strong written and oral communication skills. Then, in addition, the marketing man learns how to analyze potential markets, to write marketing plans, develop budgets, and analyze data. And lastly, they also tend to become more involved in the managerial side of the business world and learn how to manage people, processes, and budgets. Now, this is all taught in the various marketing degrees that are available. But these are costly and time-consuming, and in the current economic climate, no longer guarantees you quality employment like it used to do. It is possible to self-study marketing to a large degree, to teach yourself writing and communication skills, to learn how to analyze market data and trends, and to learn management and people skills. These can all be self-taught for a relatively low cost, provided that you have the discipline and the perseverance to see it through. Now, the twin brother of marketing, which is sales, is a rather different cup of tea, isn't it? Because sales takes the interested people who have been attracted by the marketing campaign or the marketing strategy and then turns them into sales and into real money. So if you want your company to excel, then the key is to have both marketing and sales working in unison and to be singing off the same hymn sheet. So let's take a quick look at the differences and the different skill sets required from marketing people and from sales people. Marketing is about planning and strategizing, and sales is about action and selling. Marketing is strategic and longer term. Sales is mostly tactical and shorter term. Marketing involves market research and analysis, and sales involves direct interaction. Marketing tends to focus on a large pool of people, whereas selling focuses on individual people. So in other words, marketing is one-to-many and sales is one-to-one. Marketing requires writing skills, analytical skills, and advertising experience, while sales requires very individualistic selling skills and people skills. Marketing tends to get involved in management, and sales does not. Marketing, by its very nature, involves teamwork and group work, but sales is very individualistic by nature. Marketing tends to lay the groundwork, and sales involves covering that ground. Marketing is telling the story of the business to people, and sales is where the business becomes real for those same people. Marketing looks after brand reputation, but sales develops personal relationships. Marketing looks at the averages, but selling deals with specific results. Marketing tends to study customers, but sales personally interacts with them. So, both sales and marketing must be seen by you, the business owner, as the most important parts of your business, because they bring in the revenue. And remember that times change, and so too must organizations and its peoples change. And one thing that has changed over time lately is the relationship between sales and marketing. But we, the people, have been a bit slow on the uptake of this change, especially in our brick and mortar businesses. Instead of sales standing completely alone as it has done in the past, it now comes to help in the marketing process, just as marketing has come to help big time in the sales process by getting prospects to call in with no efforts by the sales team. By the sales and marketing people working as a unit, the people get better, the business becomes more efficient, becomes more transparent, and more successful. Now, to demonstrate this, I once had a conversation with a business owner about the importance of combining marketing expertise with sales expertise. And she said to me, "Tom, I need to see it work before I'd fully invest in marketing at the expense of sales." Now, to me, that's like asking a farmer to produce, but not being willing to invest in the seed. You can't see the crop harvested if you're unwilling to plant the seed. And this businesswoman did not yet realize that marketing can spread the seed so much quicker than sales can. And I believe that in order to successfully move into 2021 and beyond, businesses need to take a leap of faith, because great success can happen with a blended approach to sales and marketing. And here's a great example of this in action. A swimming pool business owner approached me for help on the sales side of his business, which was floundering really badly. So I decided to take a marketing approach to the problem that would be able to assist his small team of 2 salespeople. And here's how they operate now. We took 70% of the prospecting element away from the salespeople by using accurate and targeted social media campaigns, using only one social media platform, which our marketing team showed was mostly used by the target market. And here's how it works now for them. The on and offline marketing campaign drives traffic to the company's website rather than to the salespeople. And the landing page, which is designed in a specific manner, asks a few questions immediately. Questions like, what size pool are you looking for? What's your timeline? What's your budget? Shape of the pool you'd like, depth, etc. Now, traditionally, these are the questions usually asked by the salespeople when they come to see you. But now, the answers you give lead you to different web pages designed specifically for the options that you've selected. All of the information is served up to you on demand in the comfort of your home and, importantly, at your own pace. You're in complete control, aren't you? Now you keep going until you reach a point where the site can make a recommendation. And please, note that statement very carefully, because this is where so many people go wrong with technology and social media today, and it costs them dearly. The technology in these cases only assists in making recommendations. It cannot close the sale. You still need the human touch, the salesperson to come and apply his people skills and his sales skills, and importantly, his product knowledge, because he must view the terrain, check for problems, and then identify any changes required and make recommendations based on his or her experience in the trade. And then, most importantly, especially for the business owner needs the salesperson to close the prospect on his company. Because undoubtedly, this prospect is checking out other pool companies online as well. Won't you agree? He definitely is. Now, is that process a sales or a marketing process? It's a new kind of sales experience, isn't it? Designed by marketers to assist salespeople and to cater to the modern buyer. The marketing people, which in this case was us at Sales Driven International, used technology and data research combined with social media to make the salespeople's job easier and shorter. And in no way did we replace salespeople. And I firmly believe that as we move forward into 2021 and beyond, that it'll be harder and harder to distinguish between sales and between marketing. And that smart business owners will organize their teams accordingly, with a mix of skilled salespeople and professional marketers who recognize the rapid changes of modern business, and who will also recognize that much of the initial hard work in implementing the systems, in the ongoing training, and in the hiring of marketing and salespeople can be outsourced to companies such as ours. Now, another question that I'm asked quite often is, which of the two, sales or marketing, is more important to have? And my answer is always, if you have to pick one only, then pick a sales team. Most businesses throughout the world never ever use any form of marketing strategies. But a large majority of these same businesses have salespeople or sales departments in some form. And that's because it works. But I repeat once again that it is my belief that as we move forward into the future, to be successful in business will demand that you have a mix of both these sales functions. So, here then is a simple 3-part action list to help you in implementing all that we've talked about today so far. Firstly, get your salespeople trained immediately. The investment required is minute compared to the returns. And if you don't have salespeople, find a way to hire 1 or 2 immediately. But please talk to us first about how to identify the right sales hire. That's very important. Secondly, get working on your marketing message and on a marketing campaign in order to win the hearts and minds of your prospects and to get your share of attention. And thirdly, set up a systemized and predictable method for your highly trained salespeople to follow so that they can turn the call-ins into money. And by following this process, you will give yourself every chance to become one of that small group of entrepreneurs who not only survive 3 years, but actually thrive for the rest of their business lives. But as usual, there's a rider though. There always is, isn't there? Is this simple to do? In theory, absolutely yes, it is simple. But I have learned that just because something is simple to do does not mean it is easy to do. Because things that are easy to do are also easy. They're also easy not to do. Will you agree with me on that, please? And as an entrepreneur or as a one-man show running a business, despite your best intentions after hearing all this, you will struggle to design, implement, and ingrain the correct systems and to enforce the training disciplines. The training has to be reinforced. The salespeople have to be given structure to ensure the new techniques and methods are properly learned and applied. And if this is done correctly, then in a relatively short few months, these will become new habits and become ingrained and natural. And the new systems controlling your sales and marketing efforts in your business will take hold. And once you achieve this, the results, I assure you, will astound you. Now, unfortunately, we're living in a very noisy world in 2020 because of social media, and it's getting progressively worse every single day. And being heard in any meaningful way today is incredibly difficult and can be very expensive, particularly if you try and go it alone. So how then to get the attention you need for as long as you need in order to be genuinely noticed? Because here's the thing, your business is going to die or succeed depending on how you brand it, sell it, market it, and promote it consistently and distribute your message. Unfortunately, attention is the currency of our modern day, whether we like it or not. And you clamoring for attention is a large part of the business game that we need to play in 2020 and onwards. So, make an important note of this right now. That money follows to 2 things without fail in the modern business world. Firstly, money always follows great value. And secondly, money also follows attention. So you need to provide both of these things with consistency to make it big today. Great value and drawing tons of attention to yourself at the same time. And while you try to navigate the craziness of social media, make sure that through it all, you stick to the 3-part plan that I gave you. Because it is just like gold, silver, or real estate. No matter what fancy currencies like Bitcoin, etc. come along, the tried and tested currencies that are real and proven don't ever lose their luster. Just as the fundamentals of business, marketing, and selling will never, ever change. Please agree with me on that. So, evolve and adapt with this mad new world, but always keep the proven and tested principles as your rock-solid base. And then, whatever you call success can and will be achieved. Now, let's get another perspective on the subject of tonight's presentation from a very successful South African businessman, Vusi Tembakwano. Let's hear.
Single most important skill any entrepreneur can learn is sales. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're a coder, you're an engineer, you're a mechanic, you're a beer brew drafts. I don't care what you do. The single most critical skill you will learn as an entrepreneur, and it is 10 times more important than every other skill that comes after it, is sales. So if there's one excuse I never accept from entrepreneurs is I can't sell.
Yeah.
Then don't be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
There's many other, go be an accountant somewhere, go practice HR. You know, there are companies that have nice long meetings and people sit and they have cookies and biscuits and there's an agenda. Go there.
That's where they belong.
That's where you belong. But in our world, we sell. So
I like that.
So that's the first thing. And the second thing I want to say to your question is, I also hate entrepreneurs that have the idea that they've got to have runway before they start a business. And there's this pervasive culture now in South Africa. You know, people go and create a business plan, and the business plan I say I need 18 months runway, and I'm going to raise capital in this 18 months. Who's runway? Where are you running? On whose money, right? Because somebody has to pay the piper. So you want to start this thing, and you're telling funders, we've got to part with money to fund your dreams? I got my own dreams, player. I'll fund my own dreams.
Yes.
So the single most important skill you'll learn is sales. So what did I do? I sold. I used to do this thing called burn the line. In my business today, the team will tell you, I still tell them, burn the line. You know what that means? It means you pick up the phone, you come up with a telephone directory, and you do not put that thing down until you close a sale.
Wow.
I don't care what you say. What are you selling? HR consulting services? How do you think you're going to do it? Invite people for coffees at Melrose Arch?
Doesn't work.
That won't work.
Yeah.
Run an email shot on MailChimp? That won't work. A clever little campaign on Twitter or Facebook? That will not work. Get on the phone, get a directory, pick up the phone, and dial the fucking number. That's it. It's not. It really is not that complex. Even today, people don't know. Guys don't know. Even today, I sell. When the team has the sale they've got to close and they need the big hitter, they pull Vusi. And I will walk in and I will close. That's what I do. Because if you can't bridge that skill as an entrepreneur, everything else you learn is immaterial.
Yeah.
The ability to develop now you guys, I feel like people are just distracted. Not because you're designing websites and logos. Let's on. Let's on.
Trying to look pretty online, you know?
Not doing profiles and what are you doing, guys? People are trying to short circuit. Just.
So,
If you're an entrepreneur today and you've been in business for less than 3 years, a task for you when you leave here. When you leave here, designate one day in the week. Designate a morning in that day. You start at 9. You finish at 11. You come up with a cold call list of 200. You know how I know? Because in 2 hours, you'll make 200 phone calls. And here's how the rules work in sales. It's 10 for 1. You make 10 phone calls, you get 4 appointments, 1 sale. But if you don't make the 10 phone calls, the 1 sale doesn't come. When you've done that, and you've got clients, and you're billing, and you're doing work, then you can worry about what's my website look like? What does my brand look like? Putting up an Instagram picture of you in your nice car. And then you can do that stuff.
A man after my own heart. And ladies and gentlemen, one of the biggest frustrations of being a sales trainer is knowing how powerful the material is and how it can and does change lives, but not being able to get the message taken seriously by so many business owners and salespeople who really need it so desperately. Please, don't be one of those. And I sincerely hope to hear from you after tonight to help you get yourself and your people trained. Now, before we close off today, let's briefly take a look at what you need to look for when hiring salespeople. Because sales superstars can make your business, and bad sales hires can contribute to breaking your business. If you want to have a competitive edge in the marketplace, if you want to make more money and enjoy a better lifestyle, then you need to get trained, and you damn well better train your salespeople. Because here's the thing, great salespeople, contrary to popular opinion, are very seldom born naturally great. They've all been trained, they've trained themselves into greatness. Because if you want to earn more, you simply have to learn more. You have to develop better skills and bring more value. Just imagine right now what a highly trained and motivated sales team hungry to succeed could do for your business. So, here then are my 5 top characteristics to look out for in A-lister salespeople. First and foremost, they must be self-driven people, because without drive and ambition to succeed, sales will be a dismal failure. So look for someone whose butt is always burning, and you should seldom or never have to push or motivate a top achiever. Secondly, they must possess self-discipline. Without this ingredient, success in sales is impossible. But with self-discipline, then all things are possible. Thirdly, they must be prepared to continually self-educate and to improve their skills and abilities. Because to be one of the best, you must train like the best. Self-education. Fourth, to succeed in sales, your people have to be empathetic by nature and enjoy people. Top-level sales demands the ability of being able to relate to all types of people and not just to those that you instinctively like. The sales game is the people's game. And lastly, next up, you need to look out for their ability to struggle for rejection. Because again, if you're in the selling game, then you're in the disappointment and rejection game. Can they dust themselves off and keep going after hearing repeated no's and lost sales? This is so important. So there's 5 characteristics to look out for in A-type salespeople. But it's also worth knowing when hiring salespeople or training yourself what the skills are that top salespeople need to possess or do possess. Now, many sales trainers focus on 7 skills that are absolutely necessary for any type of success in sales. But from my own personal experience over 30-odd full-time years in selling, I firmly believe that to make it at the upper echelons of the sales profession, there are actually 12 essential disciplines that you must master. And these are the skills that must be taught and ingrained into your salespeople, or what you should look out for when hiring. And we'll start at the beginning with prospecting. It's always number 1, because the saddest sight in sales and for a business owner is salespeople sitting with no one to call on. Please agree with me on that. This is the lifeblood of sales and business, but so often it's overlooked as a skill. Next up is qualification of the prospects you find. Here's a simple truth. Poor salespeople spend a lot of their valuable time with prospects who can't or won't invest in their products or service. But the top stars in sales will only work with pre-qualified prospects who can afford and do have a need for what they sell. Qualification is a vital but very underrated skill that cannot be left out. Making contact as a professional is the next vital skill. Most times you only get one chance at this. Do you contact a prospect by phone, by email, or perhaps face-to-face? Each method has its own nuances and skill sets that we teach. Next up is the critical skill of professionally using the best business tool a sales professional has by far, the telephone. This is a big module in our training academy. Opening statements is next. Now, what do you say and how do you say it first up to make that first impression that you never get a second chance to do over? Use of market data is next. This is a very powerful technique that we teach that is only used by the very best in the world. This is a game changer when learned correctly. Handling objections. This is one of the main areas that destroys poor and average salespeople and causes them to hate their jobs and stay at home. But after our training, your salespeople will never fear objections again, I promise you. Presentation skills. How to eloquently demonstrate or present your product or service. Very important. And then we come to the biggest module in our Sales Driven Academy. Yes, it's that dreaded but wonderful world of closing strategies and techniques. This is still the second most important skill out of all 12. And in studies done in the States on some 200,000 salespeople, those earning the big bucks, starting at $120,000 a month and up, on average closed their high net worth transactions on or after the 5th closing attempt. Closing techniques is truly the domain of the super achievers. And if your salespeople don't want to learn or improve this part of their selling, then my advice to you is to get rid of them. They can't do what you need them to do. This is so important that we have an entire program on the Sales Driven Academy devoted to this one critical area. Next up is clever follow-up and recontact skills, another speciality of the best salesmen and women. Time planning and organization skills are the next absolutely critical skill for professional selling. And lastly, the 12th critical skill is that of goal setting. The true greats are phenomenal and ritualistic goal setters. But this has become a very confusing skill to learn with so many conflicting opinions and a ton of crap taught about it. It plays a big role in our training. So, there you have the 12 critical components that both you and your salespeople should be skilled in. And although it sounds a lot, it is really not that difficult to learn, particularly if you get professionals in to set it up for you and to create the methodologies and the systems. And obviously, we at Sales Driven International would love to assist you wherever possible. So then, to sum up the essence of the message that I hope to have conveyed to you tonight, I'd like to end off by telling you about a short conversation that took place between the great Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's longtime business partner, and a hotshot sales manager who had doubled sales in under 12 months for an advertising business that had been floundering in the Berkshire Hathaway stable. And then he doubled sales again the next year, and unbelievably, the year after that again. And this conversation famously went like this. Charlie Munger asked the sales consultant. He said to him, "Now, are you sure we are not lying, stealing, or cheating somehow? Because both Warren and I have never ever seen sales doubled 3 years in a row." And this sales consultant, whom by the way years later I invested over 100,000 Rand to study his training material, replied to Charlie Munger and he said, "No, Charlie, we are simply marketing and selling way better and way smarter than our competitors." And ladies and gentlemen, the exact same thing can happen for you. Remember the 3 things I said that you would take home tonight. Firstly, a clear understanding of what business you're actually in. And now you know that you are in the sales and marketing business, aren't you? Secondly, a clear understanding of the 2 most important areas of any business. And once again, you now know that they are sales and marketing. And lastly, a method of ensuring your success as an entrepreneur. And now we know that this is by setting up a sales marketing team, training those teams, and then systemizing those teams for phenomenal success, following the 3-point plan. And I sincerely hope that you will talk to me and the Sales Driven team to assist you on this. Now, please feel free to go and take a look at our online trading academy at salesdriven.co.za. This is one of the most comprehensive online training programs available and covers every aspect of professional selling. And included as well are various masterclasses such as the Academy of Master Closing, which is a deep dive program into the techniques and strategies of phenomenal world of closing, and includes many of my own personal strategies that I've devised and adopted over the years. I'm also available for 1, 2 and 3 day live trainings and for the live presentation of our flagship program called the Speed Sell Program, taking you from naught to R1 million minimum per annum in earnings in 3 years or less. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you tonight, and I thank you most sincerely for your time and really do hope that you found it of some value. So from myself, Tom Hardiman, and the sales-driven team, please stay safe and all the very best. Cheers for now.